Heavystep is a character that captured a lot of early Warrior Cats fan attention. He was a minor, RiverClan background character that first got added to the series as an apprentice in Fire and Ice. He doesn't do much. He sits in the allegiances, mostly. Because of his early popularity, I'd say the older people here already know exactly what I'm going to talk about. But I'm just going to go over it like I normally would for any other character anyway. There's actually a few very good reasons you might be unaware. So, Heavystep isn't really much of a presence, like I said. He is friends with Mousefur for one book. He gets sick a few times. He's around a bit in Mothwing's book, but not in any way that tells you much about him. He's a responsible, caring warrior, and he gets worried about his clanmates. And it's about the same in Leopardstar's Honor, although he's a bit more of a character there. He seems to occasionally get portrayed a bit more anxiously than your average warrior, but not in any way that's super noticeable. He does get made fun of by his clanmates as an apprentice, where we do get a cute scene with him. "Watch out for hawks," he told Heavy Paw. "With WindClan gone, they'll be used to having the moor to themselves." He glanced at his apprentice and added, "They might mistake you for a meal." Heavy Paw's eyes widened. "Really?" "Really," Black Claw told him solemnly. Beetlenose winked at the warrior and added, "Don't worry, Heavy Paw. A hawk would spit you out after the first bite," he teased. "You taste like fish." Heavy Paw's ears were twitching nervously. "Don't hawks like fish?" "Not furry fish," Beetlenose mewed. Sedge Creek moved closer to the young Tom. "Don't take any notice of them," she mewed. "They're just teasing." Black Claw purred. "I promise I won't let a hawk take you," he meowed, adding mischievously. "Not after I've spent so long training you." Leopardfur blinked reassuringly at Heavy Paw. "You'll be safe as long as you stick with us." She felt a fresh rush of affection for her clan, and her fierce urge to protect them pressed harder in her chest. And while not really that relevant to his personality, we see him clearing bone pile bones away to train his apprentice at the end of the book. Ew. So his most relevant appearances are all in really the last few years, and all by the new team. So why would a minor RiverClan background character be the subject of theories and speculation and author questions? Well, he was an early and very obvious example of Warrior Cats making a mistake. Honestly, a few mistakes. Back in the day, we didn't actually have that many characters to keep track of because of the timelines, prequel characters, family trees, and whatnot not existing yet. It just wasn't too complicated. We had maybe 2 generations of cats, and most of them were in order, despite little things like Mousefur retiring super early. People actually held the series to relatively high standards of quality, mostly because they were children, compared to today where there's a bit of a cheapness association. So if something was weird, people noticed. So Heavystep retires really early. In Aaron Hunter Chat 3, this gets pointed out not by a reader, but by Vicky herself, who's just already aware. Stormflower asks, "Why do you make young cats become elders in different clans, but in ThunderClan they age so slowly?" Vicky responds, "Ideally, all the cats in all the clans would age at the same rate, and I promise I'm trying very hard to make this the case in Power of 3, but I know I made a big dumb error with Heavystep, so sorry about that." In the next author chat, she actually brings him up again and says that he had kidney disease and that's why he retired early. So, problem solved, right? Not exactly. See, Heavystep isn't just a cat who retires after we see him as an apprentice in the first series, he also dies. Heavystep being dead is mentioned over and over again in the last book of the new prophecy, Sunset. It really eats at Leafpool, who feels responsible for it. So then, what's the problem? Of course he dies. He was an elder. He was sick the book before. Well, in the next book he's just there again. In the Allegiances for RiverClan, he even shows up in person a book later. After this, people start saying that he died 3 times. Wait, 3? Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I found claims that he died in Long Shadows. He did not. I found claims that he died in the Darkest Hour. He did not. I even found somebody saying that he died in Dawn, and he definitely did not die in Dawn. The claim that he died in Long Shadows was even featured on the Warrior Cats wiki for multiple years, only being removed sometime in 2012. That said, their Mistakes in the Warriors series page still says, even though he already died twice, in the facts that they provide for the book Sunrise. That said, I said this to someone who actually edits the wiki, and they fixed it, so thank you very much, and do not worry about it. But the claim that he died 3 times is older than Long Shadows. In an author chat from early 2008, Blue Feather asks, "Is Heavystep a former leader? He's died 3 times, ... And Kate Carey responds, "Triple oops." In the same one, somebody asks if they would consider killing him again after he appears in both The Sight and Dark River. I assume that the early assumption that he died 3 times and not twice could have come from the idea that every individual mistake where they left him in the allegiances at the time was him dying again, but this would imply that Heavystep died overall 7-ish times and not 2. Now, you might look at your copies of the books and go, wait, he only died once though, he doesn't come back? And that's because future editions of Warrior Cats actually corrected this mistake, likely because it was so widely brought up. Future editions of Warrior Cats actually edit all sorts of mistakes, it just sometimes takes a while for second editions to, well, even be printed or distributed. So, technically, Heavystep's second life is retconned out. In the original Dark River it reads, "Grey Mist was curling her lip, and Heavystep, a stocky tabby elder, flattened his ears in disapproval." And now it reads, "Grey Mist was curling her lip, and Swallowtail, a dark tabby elder, flattened her ears in disapproval." Hooray for Swallowtail. Vicky repeats that he died 3 times in one of the early Warrior Cats website articles, where she also claims that she secretly wants to write a super edition about him. I'm pretty sure she's just being silly here. Honestly, there are a lot of cats in this series, and I am surprised that this kind of thing doesn't happen more than it already does, and it has happened to quite a few cats that aren't Heavystep. But Heavystep in particular has this interest for being early. The first. Later cats who come back from the dead by accident, like Shrewfoot, who is said to have died in Bramblestar's storm, but then is shown still alive in Dovewing Silence, just don't get the same levels of attention. A really good example here is Beetle Whisker, who was killed by Broken Star in The Last Hope, and keeps appearing in the Allegiances for much, much longer than Heavystep does in almost the exact same way, miraculously reappearing for the entire Vision of Shadows arc, and to the first book of the Broken Code, like they got all the way through a series and started on the next one with him. He's also much more active than Heavystep. Outside of the Allegiances, he appears multiple times and even speaks past his death, saying, "What about the prisoners?" Beetle Whisker asked anxiously. "Are they okay? Will Darktail let them leave soon?" Chapter 13, Shattered Sky. Not only this, but one book later, he has Hairpaw as his apprentice, and in the original editions of the books, he is mentor to Hairlight for his entire time as an apprentice. Ridiculously, when editing the second editions of these books, they didn't keep the mentor consistent when reassigning Hairpaw, having it be Mallownose for the first 2 and Sneezecloud for the third. While this is almost definitely out of context, replacing an error with another error, we could just say that Mallownose stepped down off screen. Maybe Mallownose was like, "Misty Star, I can't do this, replacing Beetle Whisker is too much work." Heavystep was just the first one, and that's how a lot of things are in this fandom. Whatever happened the earliest is the most memorable, because most people would have experienced it, but at the same time, this is also in part due to just how much misinformation there was floating around in early Warrior Cats fandom. Searching the books was a manual process, and a lot of us just didn't have digital copies that we could search through. If somebody misremembered something or decided to make something up, it floated around for years and years and years. I'm sure it's possible some of the extra death rumors were just Vicky making him an elder so young, mistaking it for or misremembering it as another death. Either way, I'm looking forward to Vicky coming back next year one last time to write the Heavystep Super Edition. This is a lie. This is a joke. I am funny.